Hi everybody, my name is Pierre Pringiers. I'm a Belgian, already working in Sri Lanka for the last 40 years. I started my career here in developing the industrial tire business, and basically my initiatives led to make Sri Lanka the #1 solid tire manufacturer in the world. After that, basically I decided to go for a second development, which is the development of the yachting and cruising industry. We are building yachts and we are operating yachts in Sri Lanka for the last 5 years and employ 350 people, both in Koggala and in Velipatanvilla, where we have our main yard. So our project is benefiting both the tourist industry as well as the manufacturing industry, and our ambition is to make Sri Lanka the yachting hub in the region, in the Indian subcontinent and beyond. The whole tropical belt from East Africa up to Vietnam is the market where we want to play. We want to use the leverage of the Sri Lankan market, developing of the industry, cruising industry for tourists, as a leverage to export to this market.
Hi, my name is Michael Sathasivam. I am the founder director of Symbiosis International Private Limited, which is a company which has been set up exclusively to rejuvenate island marine lifestyle in this country. I was an IT marketing specialist working in the IT industry for the longest time, until I figured out that Sri Lanka needed something which was going to rejuvenate its coastal maritime culture. And that's when me and my partner Hiranti decided to set up Symbiosis International, which actually is focused completely on that task of enhancing waterfront luxury lifestyle in this country. Basically, what we're trying to do is to make Sri Lankans move out there and try and use the water more, enjoy the seas, enjoy living on the ocean, and optimizing the wonderful lifestyle we have around Sri Lanka and its coasts.
How would you define luxury marine lifestyle?
So first of all, I would like to delete a little bit the word luxury and start with marine lifestyle, which really starts with the passion for being on the water or on the sea, to enjoy the tropical breeze, the blue skies and the blue waters. The freedom that you have on the sea, which you don't have on the land anymore, freedom to move around, freedom to do what you want to do, and the passion eventually for sailing, which are the basic things who define the passion for this kind of lifestyle. And then you come to the luxury part of it, and basically luxury part of the whole marine lifestyle is basically the same as you have it with people having a villa or having a nice car or a Maserati or a Ferrari, enjoying the comfort, the nice design of it, the beauty of it, the possibility to entertain their friends with it and to share it with their friends, and it makes them all dream and make other people dream. That's basically what I would say about.
For me, luxury marine lifestyle encompasses everything to do with yachts, with marinas, with boats, with jet skis, with water sports, with everything around the water and everything which actually takes place offshore and onshore as well. The luxury element for me is the entertainment and the glamour which goes with the people who can afford these boats, who choose to invest in these boats and these marinas and bring a lifestyle, a certain amount of glamour and lifestyle into the space. So that for me is luxury marine lifestyle.
What made you choose this type of business?
So basically everything started after the tsunami in 2004, December 2004, where there was such a destruction there. And I got involved in a rehabilitation project which rebuilt boats, rebuilt houses, rebuilt schools and things like that. So we employed 200, 300 young people there in the area of Mirissa Veligama. And when the rebuilding was over, and we spent about $7 million of our own funds and donations from various organizations, when this all was over, we discovered that basically there's a lot of unemployment in the youths in that region. In 2004, there was no highway, no industries there. And we decided to create the Building a Future Foundation, which basically had one aim, is to train young boys and girls for a future employment. And basically we decided that this employment would be for leisure and cruising and excursion activities on the ocean. So we started basically in Mirissa, and the boys discovered that there were whales, and then we started the whale watching. This was our first actually success story, and we created then the first whale watching company, Mirissa Water Sports, which has then evolved in about 60 other companies owned by local fishermen and sons of fishermen, which is now one of the major attractions for Sri Lanka tourism. So basically the succession of that was that this was concentrated on one point on the coast, whereas there is 1,350 kilometers of coastline. And I started then that we should diversify in cruising and yachting and cruising around the island. So that's how the idea came up.
My foray into this sector came about quite by chance. I am an IT businessman and have been traveling quite vastly. On one of my overseas trips, I happened to be in a city which actually had a lot of waterfront living and a lot of marina lifestyle across it. I thought to myself, look at Sri Lanka, we are an island country, and we have the immense potential to actually expand upon high-end tourism in this country. This country has been known for bringing in people who do not spend quite a lot, who come in not to just experience the entire lifestyle which Sri Lanka has to offer, but basically to look around. And I thought to myself, why not expand upon that? And that is when I decided to set up and kind of optimize the infrastructure we already have in the country, and also try and increase and expand upon whatever there is and whatever people like Pierre have built up in this country by actually bringing in a high-end element of tourism into the country, which includes high-end yachts, sails, cruises, charters, etc. And that's how I got into this business.
What was your first big breakthrough in the industry?
So basically we started with day charter activities, which means less than a day trips where people really enjoyed water sports, swimming, snorkeling, and enjoying swimming and entertaining themselves. And basically shortly afterwards we built the first cabin cruiser, sailing catamaran with 4 cabins, Seacap 53, which was basically our real breakthrough in terms of becoming an international player. Indeed, with the Seacap 53, we managed basically to attract international players in the charter business to charter one of our boats for a full year. And there we saw the charter cruises that we organized basically were 6-day cruises. And there we saw a fantastic potential, which is existing already in Greece, in Turkey, in Thailand, in the Riviera in France. And we decided really to go forward with that in a big way. And basically the second year we had a second boat rented out for a full year. And today, let's say in 2020, we will export our first boat to an operator in Thailand. So which shows that basically the whole business is really fulfilling a necessity. And the combination that we have chosen for is to build the boats here in Sri Lanka, operate them in Sri Lanka, and use this springboard as a leverage for export.
My business has just been around for about 2 years. We actually are working on quite a few changes in the regulation and the policy of what one can do and what cannot do in the waters of Sri Lanka. If you may know, the policy in the country has been enacted way back in 1948 or something to that effect, and it has been unchanged ever since. So my biggest challenge in the industry is trying to get government policymakers and regulators all aligned with this entire aspect of luxury tourism, marine lifestyle. And I think we have still not got the necessary breakthrough which we want to in terms of fair policy and in terms of open regulations. But I think we're working on that, and we have a very pro-tourism related government which has actually come in now. And I think that is going to take us forward. And I'm hoping my big breakthrough will come in at that point in time, where we can actually set certain regulations, certain policies, certain taxations, which are all very pro-marine lifestyle and which actually help challenge and grow the industry in Sri Lanka.
What is unique about your brand?
So basically, our brands and which concur with our vision and mission is based on the passion and the commitment for the future of the youngsters in Sri Lanka. Essentially for the youngsters living in the coastal areas of Sri Lanka. The second thing is that we have a commitment to use a synergetic effect of developing the boat building and the yacht building and the cruise boat building with the development of tourism. There is an obvious synergy in that, to have and to create the capacities of production as well as design for this purpose, because this will lift up the whole capability building and economic, let's say, prosperity for Sri Lanka in a new sector, which is a combined sector between tourism and boat building, and also going for the export. So this is, I believe, a very, very strong motivation and identity that we want to keep in our endeavors. And to prove that point, our visions have been incorporated in the national export strategy, which was defined and discussed with the boat building community and the export development board. You know, to build boats in Sri Lanka, build yachts in Sri Lanka, operate them in Sri Lanka, and use that as a jumping board for exports.
Well, like I said, my brand is quite new in the market, but what I do have is a mandate to actually try and bring in some of the luxury brands which are associated with lifestyle and luxury marine lifestyle all across the world. So as a result, I have a partnership with quite a few internationally renowned boat builders, boat providers, waterfront developers, designers, and also marina operators. So what I think is unique about Symbiosis and Taprobana Rendezvous is that we are a one-stop shop in bringing together a myriad of partners, developers, investors, and operators into this country with a view to make this country one of those marine hotspots in the Indian Ocean. We see a lot of surrounding neighboring countries exploiting their lifestyle, exploiting their marine culture, and what we want to do is the same with Sri Lanka. So what I'm putting together is a partnership of some sorts with developers and partners across the globe, actually, to come into Sri Lanka, invest in Sri Lanka, be able to operate in Sri Lanka, and also to build the brand in the country. So that, I think, for Symbiosis and Taprobana Rendezvous is our unique selling point. We are a one-stop shop for everything marine in this country.
Yeah.
What do you know of each other as a business personality?
Basically, I met Michael probably 2.5 or 3 years ago, if I'm remembering correctly, and he heard from me, and then I heard from him. We were introduced, I think, to a third party, And we discussed our visions at that time, which was very exciting and very interesting. And I shared my vision, he shared his vision, and we thought we can work together. But for about 3 years, nothing much happened. And we both know why it is so, because the regulatory framework was not right for both sides, for our vision as well as for his vision, to materialize. And so I was full of admiration for him, knowing that he's coming from outside the industry, just like me. I've never built a boat in my life till I started these ventures. I thought we surely can work together on this.
Well, the whole industry knows about Pierre Pringiers, and whenever you say the word boating, yachts, and Sri Lanka bills, his name pops up. And so basically, when I first heard about him, obviously, he's done a lot of good things in the industry and also out of the industry, and so it was always a good thing to kind of connect with him. And like he said, when we first met 2 years ago, we just bounced off ideas, and we found out today actually that our business ideas are very, very complementary to each other, in terms of what he does and in terms of what I want to do for the industry. So I think there is very good synergy amongst the two of us, and I think there's a lot we can offer together as a partnership.
What first impression did you have of each other?
First impression is that even from the first meeting, I thought he is a doer. He's a doer, and I have proven right, because he's still committed, he's still upright, he still has his plans, his vision, he's pushing for it. So this kind of thing is very, I would say, very, very happy to see from my side that there are people like him here, and that he's not going to disappear, and that we will have a group of people which will push this industry forward. Alone, we die or we sink, and we say in the yachting. Together, we win.
My first impression when he walked in actually was very different. It was how impeccably dressed he was and how well he carried himself. And that for me was actually a benchmark of how you judge a person, how he comes across as his first impression. But like I said, Pierre has been there, he's done that on many times, right? And, he is somebody the industry should actually make a lot more use of. And he's somebody who I actually kind of look up to as well, because like I said, he's been there and done it. He has done it all over the past 20, 30 years in this country. And my first impression, or my lingering impressions of him, are that he's very committed to Sri Lanka as a country, and not many people can actually say that about a person who has been in this country. But he's committed to Sri Lanka, committed to actually making sure that the less privileged in those areas he just mentioned have actually got a job and a place to go to and a place to work. And that is very commendable, that not even many Sri Lankans do for their own people. And that is something I actually have to raise my hat off to Pierre. I think there's a lot of synergy going forward, and I think together with our diverse type of approaches to this industry, there is a lot we can do to make this successful.
What do you think of each other's venture?
Well, I think it's a bit difficult to judge without knowing all the details, but I think the approaches we have are slightly, I would say, not different, but they are in other areas. The center of gravities of our efforts are in other areas, and I think the area where he's, very committed to succeed is absolutely necessary, and my approach is also absolutely necessary. As I said, together we can make the right mix for the progress of this industry in Sri Lanka. In my case, I would say I have this social aspect which is very important. And when next year, 2020, we start a new boatyard in Jaffna actually, and we will intensify our operations in Jaffna. We are planning to do the first cruise between Jaffna and Rameswaram in south of India. So you see, if we have partners and people like him who are committed and entrepreneurial, we can materialize this thing. Alone, I can't materialize all this thing. This cruise to Jaffna, we'll need a few people to get together. But if we do that, this will open up the whole thing also to the hinterland, to the Indian continent.
Well, needless to say, Pierre's contribution to this industry is extraordinary, and I think it's a very vital role in what the future of this marine tourism sector is. Boat building and putting Sri Lankans to work on projects is a very important part of it. There has to be stakeholdership from a Sri Lankan perspective as well. And I think that's what Pierre is doing. He's building the infrastructure in his own little way in terms of actually getting this off the road. I think his sector is bound to grow in leaps and bounds. And like he just mentioned about Jaffna, I think there is a lot of a concerted push into that part of Sri Lanka to try and develop entrepreneurship and industry in that part of Sri Lanka. And I think that's a very salient point in what he just mentioned. As more and more operators, builders start developing and setting up in this country, I think it will only go to show that what he started off some time ago is very important and a very central point of everything this tourism industry has to do about it. So I think he's smack bang in the middle of things. He's right in the middle of the entire industry, a center of gravity, so as it were, for the industry, and everything has to be built around that framework. And I think that's a very important place to be in.
What do you think about this program?
I feel very excited about the concept because, you got us both into separate cubicles and answering the same questions. We didn't talk about it before. And it was very exciting for me I learned a lot during this session, which I didn't know or didn't know the details about. And then even this final discussion, face-to-face discussion here, is very enlightening, and I hope that the Sri Lankan viewers who are watching your TV programs, and also the Sri Lankan business people in tourism and in boat building as well, which I know all of them, of course, but and also the politicians, the new government, and all that will take some stock from the concerns that we have and the dreams that we have for this wonderful country.
To be honest, when we came in here, I honestly thought we were competitors, to be very frank with you. I honestly thought we were competing in the same industry, but your program has actually brought out a lot of genuine vision from each other. Like Pierre said, we didn't rehearse this, we didn't know exactly what the other person was going to say. But sitting across in the other cubicle and listening to what Pierre said and listening to what I have in my mind for the vision of this country, we clearly sit here right now thinking that there has to be collaboration between the both of us. We have to do it together, and we will be, as a result of this program, actually working a lot more with each other to take things forward. So thank you to the organizers of this program, and also the concept of how you put it together. And the cubicle has been very interesting for the both of us. So thank you very much.